Guys, Congress just told the Department of Justice, they just told Pam Bondi herself, get rid of the registration requirements on the NFA items that are mentioned in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Whew. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets. Got a massive update that's got the Second Amendment world shook up at the moment, and this one could be very good for us. If you're a firearms owner, a suppressor enthusiast, a short-barreled rifle builder, or just someone who cares about preserving your rights, you need to hear what's going on as we speak. We're going to break down the letter that was sent to Attorney General Pam Bondi by Congressman Andrew Clyde that spells out exactly what Congress and the One Big Beautiful Bill Act did for the NFA and the tax stamp regime. And we'll also explore what it means for you, for the future of regulation, and for litigation that may be coming down the pike. So stay tuned. We've got a lot to unpack here. But first, a quick word from our sponsor, Attorneys on Retainer. You guys and gals know, you've heard me say this, and maybe you understand this from experiences in your life, but a really good attorney, well, just a good attorney can cost $500 an hour, but a really, really good one, like a great one, 3 times that amount easily. What if I told you you could be covered should you ever have to defend yourself in every single state, and you could have the best self-defense attorneys in the country, and you could be covered for the entire year for less than what most good attorneys charge you for 1 hour? And if you've ever had to defend yourself, you're going to need your attorney for a lot more than 1 hour. Join Attorneys on Retainer. If you're ever targeted by the government simply for exercising your Second Amendment rights, you're going to want them in your corner. And if you're charged and you have to go to court trial for a felony, you'll get 4 attorneys working for you to keep your freedom. 4. Can't say that for any other plan. If you carry a firearm for self-defense, you need a legal team that actually understands your rights. Our rights, the Constitution. AOR is the only law firm in America. It is actually Attorneys for Freedom, but they only specialize in self-defense cases. That is all they do. If you can reasonably and in good faith assert that you acted in defense of yourself or others, they'll cover you. It's that easy. They've got your back. From red flag orders to self-defense claims in every single state, in gun-free zones, whether a weapon was used or not, whether you used a fist, a knife, a taser, any weapon, including those that are not on your communist state rosters. Whether or not you have a CCW permit or not, whether it's valid, expired, and so much more. Learn more at the link down below and use my QR code if you are on a smart device that doesn't have access to the description or the pinned comment, and save $50 off your individual plan sign-up fee or $25 off your family plan sign-up fee, and use my code G&G. It's not going to last long, so you have to jump on it. Plus, if you join now, you lock in your price until 2030. And that's big because they are adding additional benefits, like they just added the 4 horsemen, the 4 attorneys, and that costs money, obviously, so prices have to go up. They're going up January 1st, and they're ready to fight for you when others won't. And while we're at it, come hang out with me and these attorneys who give you real protection and stand at the front lines of legal advocacy for freedom at the Attorneys on Retainer Association Conference on February 20th and 21st in Mesa, Arizona. You can learn more at that link I have down below in this QR code there. Let's get into this. Here is the letter that Andrew Clyde sent Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, telling her, down with the NFA. It says, Dear Attorney General Bondi, we write to inform the Department of Justice of Congress's position and intent regarding ongoing litigation challenging the National Firearms Act registration and transfer requirements for non-taxed NFA firearms, following the enactment of President Trump's landmark Second Amendment victory in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. In enacting this bill into law, Congress affirmed its position that the taxation and registration provisions of the National Firearms Act are inseparably linked, and it expressed its intent to repeal the NFA's registration and transfer requirements by eliminating the associated tax on certain firearms and silencers. Therefore, we urge the Department of Justice to adopt and advance Congress's stated position in all litigation concerning these provisions, to ensure that congressional intent is accurately represented and upheld before the courts. As you are well aware, Congress enacted the National Firearms Act in 1934, imposing an excise tax of $200, equivalent to nearly $5,000 today, on the manufacture and transfer of certain firearms. The NFA also established burdensome registration requirements for gun owners seeking to transfer NFA-regulated firearms, including the submission to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives of personal identifying information such as name, date of birth, demographic details, fingerprints, home address, and the physical location of the firearms. Congress enacted the National Firearms Act pursuant to its taxing power under Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. The Supreme Court, in Szynski v. United States in 1937, held that the NFA's registration provisions were supported as in aid of Congress's proper exercise of the taxing power. The registration requirements under the NFA are, in fact, inseparably linked to its taxation provisions. Registration serves as the mechanism by which the ATF accounts for the tax paid on each firearm, identified by its serial number. The tax stamp affixed by the ATF to an NFA transfer and registration application reflects both the firearm's serial number and the amount of tax paid for the transfer. Moreover, the NFA's criminal provisions pertain exclusively to the failure to pay or register the payment of this tax with the ATF. On July 4th of 2025, President Donald J. Trump signed into law the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which eliminated the transfer and making taxes for certain classes of firearms regulated under the National Firearms Act. Specifically, Section 70436 of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act sets the National Firearms Act excise tax at $0 for short-barrel rifles, short-barrel shotguns, firearms classified under the NFA's any other weapon category, and silencers. This landmark legislation represents the most significant advancement for Second Amendment freedoms in many decades. Following the One Big Beautiful Bill Act's elimination of the tax on a broad class of firearms regulated under the NFA, the constitutional foundation for applying the NFA's transfer and registration requirements to those zero-tax firearms no longer exists. These requirements now operate without any corresponding exercise of Congress's taxing power, as the Supreme Court upheld the NFA's provisions only as in aid of that power, and since the relevant excise taxes have been repealed, the transfer and registration requirements should likewise be understood as repealed with respect to firearms now subject to a $0 tax. As members of Congress who supported the One Big Beautiful Bill Act and participated in the legislative process surrounding Section 70436 of that act, we wish to reaffirm that it was our intent in enacting Section 70436 to repeal the transfer and registration requirements under the National Firearms Act by eliminating the associated excise tax for certain firearms. It remains our clear intent that these transfer and registration requirements shall no longer apply to firearms now subject to a $0 tax for the reasons outlined above. Accordingly, we urge the Department of Justice to adopt the position of the drafters of this provision that the transfer and registration requirements cannot stand without the corresponding excise tax. We further urge the department to assert this position in all litigation concerning this specific section of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. President Trump has been the most pro-Second Amendment president in our nation's history, and the Department of Justice has an opportunity to uphold his strong record of protecting gun owners from burdensome regulations. Thank you for your attention to this important matter. We look forward to working with the Department of Justice to advance additional pro-Second Amendment policies. Sincerely, and if you want to read everybody who penned their name to the original letter, you can pause it here. Now, guys and gals, that was a very powerful statement. In short, Congress is saying, hey, Attorney General, you work for us. And when we said $0 tax, we meant all of it. Registration requirements go away too, so get to it, get it done. These implications are huge, very huge. And the response from the Department of Justice to Gun Owners of America's lawsuit, which Representative Clyde is It's just one of the 4 lawsuits he is referring to here. It's due tomorrow. So this could make some big waves immediately in the lawsuit looking to destroy the registration requirements and the scheme of the NFA. So I can't wait. If you guys and gals want the follow-up of what the DOJ decides to do, subscribe to this channel immediately. I will keep you in the know. It doesn't cost you anything. And tell me what you plan on doing in either one of these scenarios. One would be a complete win. We'll call this scenario A, full victory. Litigation succeeds, registration for suppressors and SBRs and SBSs and AOWs struck down as unconstitutional or significantly curtailed. And the gun rights camp would score a major landmark win, and that would reduce federal oversight on these firearms immediately. It would expand market participation and strengthen the Second Amendment provisions for all of us, because more things would be in common use, as Heller and Bruin refer to. Scenario B, let's call it a partial victory. The tax would be gone, but registration remains. The burden is lower, but paperwork stays. That's still better than 2024, some would say, but it would leave the unconstitutional administrative burden in place. To me, there's only one outcome that's acceptable, because it's all unconstitutional. So if you're fired up about this like I am, here's what you can do right now. If you're not already subscribed to Guns and Gadgets, get that done. Hit the subscribe button down below. Ring the bell, because I'll be following this at every twist and turn. And when their response drops, I will let you know what is in it. So drop a comment down below as well. Are you planning on acquiring an NFA item now because of the tax change? Are you waiting for registration removal before you do? Or are you going to do it regardless once it's $0? Let's talk about it down below. I'd love to see where you all are coming from. What's your point of view in this? Please share this video with fellow gun owners, because this is huge news. Congress just told Pam Bondi, get with it and get rid of the registration requirements for the NFA as it pertains to the items in the One Big Beautiful Bill. This is huge. This has never happened before, ever. This is a first. We're witnessing history, guys and gals. So let's pay attention to what's going on. Until next time, stay safe, stay free, stay armed. Keep exercising your Second Amendment rights. I'll see you in the next video. God bless you, and God bless America. Take care.